So I've come over today and I've noticed while walking on the path that the sunflowers now, they desperately need to be harvested before the birds eat all those extra seeds. And also things like the French beans, you know, they're dying off now and some of the husks have gone a yellowy brown colour. So I know that that's the perfect time to take them off and harvest some of them ready for future, you know, for future planting. So in my box, and I mean, I'd highly recommend one of these. So if you haven't got one, they're for photographs, and loads of gardeners have got them now, but you know, they just store photographs in them normally, but they're perfect because, I'll show you now. So I've got on mine like, you know, cabbages, herbs, flowers, lettuce, you know, the things that I tend to grow. And they're handy because these little boxes, let me show you one. They're perfect size for, you know, seed packets. So you haven't got to be folding them over and whatnot. So what I'm going to do today is, oh, nearly missed the bench. So what I'm going to do today is in this, you know, I've got one here that's other. And one thing I'd highly recommend you getting is these tiny envelopes. Now, I'm not sure what they're for, but I'll try and put a link in the description for where I got these from. And they're perfect because they're just a, you know, they're just a nice size for you to store some extra seeds for next year. And you can just write the label on, like put them in the right compartment. So I'm going to do that now with the sweet peas, maybe some runner beans if they've dried out, French beans, sunflowers. And then I've got the dreaded task of all those sweet peas that I took off last month. They've all gone really brown now, and some of them have twisted open. And this was the giant Spencer mix, and I'm sure I'll fill up with quite a few of these, and no doubt some people will be asking me for some to send out next year. So that's the plan. Seed saving today, planting some garlic. I'm going to start and, you know, start some now. You know, I noticed that Monty Don, he puts them in now this month. I normally wait till Halloween time, but every year I fail on garlic. So this year definitely, I am gonna get a successful harvest next year. I did have a semi-successful harvest, and I've kept all the best ones for next year. But I also, in Malvern, where are they? Where are they? So in Malvern, Terry King, he gave me a pile of Egyptian walking onions. He gave me some last year. I planted some and most of them got taken by a rodent or something. But I bumped into him in Malvern, and bless him, as he promised, he kept these in his pocket until he seen me and he handed them over. I also bought, don't want to lose those now. I also bought some autumn shallots. These ones are called Jermor with a J. And I also bought 3 more garlic. Now I promised I wasn't going to buy no more. I got more than enough there. But me, Jane Kelly and Tony O'Neill was walking around and we got tempted again, you know, and this one's called Lautrec, and this one's called Blanc de la Mange, I'm not sure because it's written on a bit funny, and this one is called Cadors, maybe. I should have really written these down on paper because the papery husk on these now are rubbing away, but I'll have to check on those and what they're really called. So I was tempted, like everyone else, to put a pile of more garlic in my shopping bag, and yeah, so I've got these to go in, the shallots and some walking onions, and I'm going to plant some of my garlic as well. So yeah, we always think, you know, the season's over, but there's always another season you can prepare for. So right, I'm going to prepare a bed and get that done. The good thing about, you know, just going around your plot at this time now and just collecting as many seeds as you can just saves you money for next year. I mean, you know, the amount of money that marigolds cost and sweet peas alone is just phenomenal. But just taking that time now just to go around your plot and just save some of the favourite things that you grew this year. And I know for a fact the sunflowers were an absolute hit this year on the plot. And I know so many people have already asked me, can I have some of the seeds? So I'm collecting for them and for myself. And it's just nice to share, innit? So I'm just going to go around now and get the rest of them. And I mean, I've already you know, manifested a tray full of saved seeds in little envelopes that I know will benefit me and other plot holders. Another benefit of collecting these seeds, and the reason I grow so many sunflowers as well, is that I collect the seed heads. I put them in little plastic containers, keep them nice and dry, and they're just nice snacks for the chickens all through the winter and autumn. I'll just drop a seed in every time I come here, and it's just a nice free snack that I'm sure they'll benefit and enjoy. One thing I definitely want to save is Terry Kings Liberty beans. They were a phenomenal cropper this year and one of my favourite runner beans now. And so I'm leaving these last ones, and they will pod up, dry out in the next month. So none seem to be doing it at the moment that I can see. But before long, I'll have these definitely for next year. And also the blauhilde as well. I saved these, I mean, these are on my 3rd year now. I mean, they're still purple here, but I've saved so many already today that I've already dried those husks. You know, the husks go nice and dry and crispy. You know they're ready. They've gone through to the season and, you know, produced me so much food, and now they're giving back for next year as well. So, you know, just forward think, and it'll save you money later on in the, you know, in the year. So as I mentioned just now, that none of the Liberty beans were ready for harvest. However, I managed to find a few husks, and if you can see those beautiful Liberty beans of Terry King, I've managed to harvest some already, and inside the husk you'll just see that they're in there. The yellowy brown, it's like paper now, and you know that they're ready for collecting for next year. You don't want to be collecting when they're really green, because the bean inside might not have come, you know, to the end of its cycle, that you know they're ready for storing. So thank you, Terry, for sending me these over for this year, and I'm definitely going to be growing them again next year. So I'm happy. Not only have I got a good selection here of seeds ready for next year, flowers and beans and whatnot, there's plenty more to do in the next month, but all free. So I'm happy with that. So change of plan. I've decided I'm going to be a little bit more patient, wait 2 more weeks, and then the bed that I've got the Liberty beans in and the crimson crushed tomatoes, which are still producing at the end of September, which is crazy. I'm still getting red, juicy, flavourable tomatoes this late in the year. So I think if I'm just a bit more patient, I'll be able to clear that in 2 weeks' time, and I'll have a lovely fresh bed that'll be perfect for the garlic to go in, because I'm going to need 2 beds, I think. So I want them right next to each other so I can keep an eye on it, keep the weeds down, and I know it's all in one place. So I think what I'm going to do now is I think I'm going to plant the shallots and then head to the new plot, so I can show you my plans for that, because I've got a bit of an announcement, like what's changed and what's happened since the last video. And I've also got a net as well, which I had given me when I put up the mini polytunnel. First tunnels gave me the plastic for it, and also the option of changing it to a fruit cage if I wanted to. So I thought, well, I've got a perfect amount, and it's wider as well, so it'd be perfect to put over that bed that I had last week. That wasn't quite big enough to keep those onions safe. So right, let's put the shallots in and then head to the other plot. So no faff and anything special to do with the shallots, just like the onions, root side down, poke them in about 2 inches deep. You just want the top of them showing, and then space them out between 6 to 8 inches so that they got a bit of space, because they obviously expand and they split and they change, you know, to about 6 to 8 bulbs later on. So just pop them in the soil and that's it, job done. And whatever you do, don't forget to label. So I've planted the shallots on that end of the bed, and I've got, you know, a good metre or so, square metre of space here. So the Egyptian walking onions, they're about 1 inch down and about 4 to 5 inches apart. So I'll just pop them in and hope for the best. And the fun thing about these as well is that they shoot up and send off a big seed head, and they pretty much look like this. You know, there's about 10 small onions on the top. That gets heavy, drops over, hits the soil, and then again, this then in nature would plant itself down and grow more and then bring up seed heads, and that's why it gets the name walking onions, because they literally walk across the bed over seasons. But for me, I'm going to split them up, separate them out, and hopefully we'll have some walking onions for next year. So thank you, Terry, again for, not only giving me the Liberty beans this year and also the walking onions. So an absolute gent. So I've come up to the second plot and I've got this perfect net that is 6 meters long and 3 meters wide. I'm hoping it'll be big enough now for this plot. And then, as you can see, the net has been blown off by the wind, so it's not really holding out. So I bought some metal pegs up and I'm hoping I can peg it down and keep it secure. It only needs to be for a bit, and as you can see, some of the onions have popped up already. So yeah, it's gonna happen. Just keep popping them in and they'll eventually bed in and the birds won't keep popping them out and stuff. Right, let's sort the bed again and get this net on. So the net's on, and I will say this again for first tunnels, look at the quality of this. It's thick and it's going to last a lifetime. So I'm glad really that I've put this one on now. It's plenty big enough for this bed, and that should keep them nice and secure. But I can already see weeds popping up since we had that rain. So once the onions start bulbing out a bit, I'm going to have to give it a good weed in a month or two's time. But overall, this net I'm pleased with. Well done again, first tunnels. Like, if you've been following my channel for a while now, that I like working with first tunnels. Whether I work with them with a project or I purchase it myself, I always know that quality is it's top notch. And the weird thing is that I always had in my head when I envisioned having a second plot was that I'd have a polytunnel off first tunnels. And the weird twist, the plot twist is that this is actually a first tunnels polytunnel. So when I was taking photographs and measuring up, I noticed this packaging tape and I recognized that was wrapped around these hoops. And when they fitted this polytunnel, whoever had it, they didn't take the tape off, and I sent this to First Tunnels to check, and they said definitely is their packaging tape. And it's so weird that in my head I always envisioned having a polytunnel from them as well, and there's one already on my plot. So I've spoken to them and they are going to generously recover my polytunnel so that I'll have a nice growing space for next year. And they're also sending me a double door, a single door, and some staging, and also some crop bars so that I'll have some stabilization and also something to hang from, like tomatoes and vines. And I've always worked with them and I always will. So, and it's not the fact that people will say, oh, they send free things out to YouTubers, and people try and change their channel into like a shopping channel, and that's not the case at all. If I like working with a company, and there's not many that I have, I'll continue, and the quality's always there. And whether I purchase it or work with them, as a partnership, then so be it. But I'm so happy that they're going to be sending me some staging as well. So I'll have plenty of growing space for all my seedlings next year. But I'm just so over the moon, and I just think it's so weird, like that big plot twist that in my head before I even had a plot, that I'd want a first tunnel polytunnel, and there's one already on this plot. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having the double door on the front that you can, nice ventilation, and also it'll give me a nice view of that mountain right in front of me, and one at the back, for access and also for ventilation as well. And the crop bars will just be perfect for storing things as well. I'm just really excited that this is going to be such an amazing space for me, and I've never had a polytunnel before, and I've got to get in that mindset that I'm not in a greenhouse anymore. I've got a lot more height and a lot more space, and I'm still debating whether or not to give away or get rid of my greenhouse down on the grapevine allotment. So do you think I should get rid of it, or do you think I should keep both? Because I could use the space down there for some more raised beds and just have this as a focus, or do I separate, you know, what do you think? Like, do you think I should get rid of the greenhouse or not? But I'm so excited to be having this polytunnel in top notch, and I'll probably put a video out in the spring of us recovering. Antonio O'Neill of Simplified Gardening, he's going to come and help me recover it, because if you've seen any of his videos on his channel, and he's helped other YouTubers in the past, he's recovering them and they're top notch, and they're like a drum when he's finished with them. So what better person than Tony O'Neill to come and help me recover my polytunnel. And if you haven't seen on social media and all the pictures, we all had an amazing time at Malvern Autumn Show, and there'll be one in the spring, and I think we're all planning on going again. And it was so nice to have all the YouTubers and creators all together, and we were just having a chat and having a drink, and you know, it was just really nice. And don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed, you know, having Steve from Digwell Greenfingers handing that cash over at the bar and buying me a pint. And it was just nice that these creators have helped me through my channel through the year, and likewise back. And it's just nice that there's this community of YouTubers that will help each other and look out for each other and support each other. And as much as we've got the viewers as well, it's nice that you can see us all together, and we do get on, and we're sharing the same passion as giving out content and growing food and showing everyone else, you know, what we've done. So it's really nice, and I would highly recommend you going to Malvern in spring. I'm definitely going. But yeah, it was such a nice experience, and I'd definitely do it again. So if you haven't, pop over to my Instagram, which is down here, and take a look at the pictures that I've posted, and you might see a few familiar faces that I bumped into on the way. Right, I don't know what to do now. Like, do I carry on gardening today? And it's that dilemma, and it's my only day off, and I've come over and I've spent a lot of time potching about, clearing and things. So what to do? Do you ever do that? Do you ever just come over your garden and just, sometimes you just want to just sit there, you know, pop on, you know, get the kettle going and have a nice cup of tea and just enjoy that space sometimes, and it's nice. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to head down my plot, my other plot. I keep forgetting I've got two plots, and I think I'm just going to enjoy the fact that the sun's going down, and just embrace the fact that we're definitely at the end of the season now, and we're putting things in already for next year. And I think the next thing I'm going to do is definitely my garlic, and sort out what I've got, catalogue things. And I also want to print out a plan of my plots, and so I know what's in each bed. And because the labels, you know what happens over winter, things blow off, the labels fly away, things wash away. So I think I'm just going to draw out a plan, and I would advise you to do that as well. Draw out a nice plan of your garden or your allotment of all your beds, and just write down what you've put in them and when they're going to come out on average. So you kind of got an idea of what's in them and what can come next, because that'll be the next thing that always happens in the gardening world, is we start showing how we plan and how we prepare for next year by doing all these graphs and charts. And I always try them, I really do, and I'm sure you have as well. And they can never go to plan, because nature battles you, other things, pests, you know, and you might have to keep things in the ground longer. So it's more of a guideline. Right, I'm heading down to the other plot. So take care, guys, and I shall see you all again soon.